Okay, today's lesson is on combining mixed numbers. Yesterday we looked at combining fractions. Today we're going to be looking at combining mixed numbers. These are your Cornell notes, so make sure that you have the right side filled out with your name, period, and date today. Okay, so our date is 9/9/16. Your essential question is, what is a mixed number, and give a real-world example of one. Okay, so let's take a look at our first set of directions. We're looking at like and unlike denominators. Okay, we are going to follow the same steps that we used in combining fractions. We're going to work the fraction first, then the whole number. Okay, so I have an example here that we're going to work together. So remember, you can pause the video at any time so that you can write down the notes. There's going to be lots of times when your equations are written horizontally like this. Okay, if you get a question or an equation that's horizontal, the first step I want you to do is to write it vertically. And when I say write it vertically, it just means put one on top of the other. So that's going to be the first thing that I do. I'm going to rewrite it so that they are vertical. 2 2/5 plus 1 1/5. All right, the first thing you want to do is you want to look and see, are your denominators the same? And in this case, they are. If they are the same, then if you look at your notes from yesterday, you're going to see that we just have to combine the numerators. So I have a positive 2 and a positive 1. That gives me a positive 3. When we are combining fractions, our denominator always stays the same, so it is 3/5 for the fraction. Then I look at the whole number. I have 2, a positive 2, and a positive 1. When I combine those, I get a positive 3. So my answer for this equation is 3 3/5. I do not need to simplify it because it is already in simplest form. Okay, so now let's take a look at the back side. There's going to be times when you have to regroup your fractions. Okay, so let's take a look at the steps in doing that. Your first step is always going to be to rewrite the equation vertically. Remember, up and down. You're going to turn the mixed number into an improper fraction. Remember, you can pause the video at any time so you can write your words. After we turn our mixed number into an improper fraction, we're going to follow the same rules we've been using. We're going to combine the numerators. We're going to keep the denominator the same. And then always your final step is to simplify. All right, so let's take a look at what that looks like. I have 6 2/5 minus 2 4/5. Or I have a positive 6 2/5 and I have a negative 2 4/5. I'm going to write it vertically. So I'm going to rewrite 6 2/5 and a negative 2 4/5. Okay? All right, so I've rewritten vertically. I've done step 1. Now, step 2 says to turn the mixed number into an improper fraction. Well, before we do that, I want you to take a look at this equation here. I have 4/5, and I need to take 4/5 away from 2/5, or I need to take 4 from 2. I cannot do that. I would have to regroup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn these into improper fractions, and then we're going to regroup. Okay, so when we turn a mixed number into an improper fraction, we're going to multiply the denominator by the whole number and add the numerator. So 6 times 5 is 30. 30 plus 2 is 32, so my new numerator is 32. My denominator stays the same. I'm going to do the same thing for this fraction. I'm going to multiply the denominator by the whole number, and I'm going to add the numerator. So 2 times 5 is 10. 10 plus 4 is 14. So my new numerator is 14. My denominator stays the same. And now I have my two mixed numbers in improper fractions. Now when I look at the equation, I can clearly see that I have 32 positives and 14 negatives. When they are on opposite sides of the t-chart, I'm going to subtract them. And now I can take 14 from 32. 32 minus 14. I can't take 4 from 2, so I'm going to borrow. I'm going to regroup that to a 12. Change the 3 to a 2. 12 minus 4 is 8. 2 minus 1 is 1. Okay, so my positive wins by 18. So that is my new numerator. My denominator stays the same. So right now, my answer is 18 over 5. This is still an improper fraction, so we want to put this in simplest form. That's your final step. Simplest form would be to turn it into a mixed number. So now, you have to ask yourself, how many times or how many groups of 5 do I have in 18? So I'm going to count 5, 10, 15. That gives me 3. And then how many do you have left over? I get 3 left over. That is your new numerator, and your denominator stays the same. So your answer, 18 over 5, is actually the mixed number 3 and 3/5. And I'm going to go ahead and, because my notes are kind of tight, so I'm going to go ahead and box that. That is my final answer. This concludes your notes. You will use them for your assignment today. After you have completed the assignment, you want to glue this into your journal, and it will come right after the foldable that we did yesterday. Thank you.